Thanks for coming back to check out part 2 of our RV trip to Savannah, Georgia. We left off last time heading off into the sunset and going back to the RV to eat our steak and lobsters. The next morning, we took off for Savannah again to get a tour of historic Savannah on the trolley tour bus. As we pull out on the tour bus, we're moving away from what was the old historic train station in Savannah. It is now the visitor center. The first thing we see when we pull out is an unrestored historic building. And then we drive by a restored building. Look at that old historic sign, the Thunderbird Inn. Looks like it came out of 50s and 60s to me.
And on the right, we have the Independent Presbyterian Church. This church's congregation dates all the way back to 1755. The first church was built on this site in 1819, but that church burned down.
This is truly a special historic city. With this architecture spanning 3 centuries, the oak tree canopies overhanging the roads is a staple in Savannah, and the diverse architecture is always entertaining to see. And right here's a good example. Look at these 2 types of buildings. Can you believe this was a Ford dealership? Crazy. And check out these different types of buildings. Amazing. And on this location is the first radio and TV station still in operation. And when there was a fire, they would ring this 5,500-pound fire alarm bell to alert the volunteer firemen. Savannah is the home of the first paid fire department in the United States. And they were the first ones to have a motorized fire department. Historic Savannah is a vibrant, upbeat, charming town. Everywhere you look, there's things going on, especially in downtown. Restaurants are full, people are walking around. It's very busy, but not too crowded. One thing I noticed about the locals in Savannah, people were very friendly, especially when you get away from the historic part. And where we camped was about 25 minutes away from downtown. So we stopped at the local Sam's, Walmart, and Kroger, and everybody was really friendly. In Savannah, there's a lot of monuments marking a lot of milestones in the history of Savannah. It's quite refreshing to see that this city has remembered its past and celebrates it. At this time, the trolley's going from the main upper part of this town to the lower Riverside Drive. It's about a 45-foot decline. Notice the crosswalks above the road. These crosswalks were made originally for bidders to look into the back of the cotton wagons and bid on how much they want to pay for the cart of cotton. Along the river is this 1996 Olympic Games monument. The Summer Olympics were held in Atlanta that year, but the boating events were held in the Savannah River, and the awards ceremony was performed on this ramp. The Savannah Cotton Exchange Building was completed in 1887, and during this era, Savannah ranked number 2 in the world as a cotton seaport. Now we're downtown Savannah. We just got off the trolley and we're going to go to the Prohibition Museum. So we thought we'd shoot a little video of the area that looks really cool as we're walking by.
Still.
City bathroom.
The Prohibition Museum was interesting and informative. With all its literature and displays, it was quite entertaining. It showed both sides of the argument of alcohol consumption and what are the unintended consequences of prohibition, such as bootleggers. As with anything you're not allowed to do, you have to worry about organized crime. And with that, there's always turf wars. And with turf wars, violence. This came from a desire of one thing: money. They had on display a $1,000 bill. As we moved to the end of the museum, they had an interesting way to exit. Let's watch.
What do you want? Who sent you?
Gus. Sent you.
Yeah. All right. Come on.
The door opened up into a bar, which had another interesting feature. It had a mirror on one side, which people couldn't see in, and then on the other side, you could see the other people looking at the mirror.
So those menus that you're looking at on the bars or on the tables are a collection of drinks.
It was quite entertaining. After exiting the museum, we wanted to walk around and take some more video and photographs to show you more of Savannah. This building was built out of the stones pulled out of the Savannah River. The stones were dumped out of European ships they were using for ballast while the ships were emptied, and then came into port to pick up goods. And this was an elevator that was on the top level that you could use to take down to the river level. There's some really steep steps.
I mean, just to get like the depth and stuff. Look at that.
Yeah.
These steps are no joke.
do you think of Savannah so far?
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can't wait till we can kind of sit down and go over some of the things that we noticed today. It's a really cool city.
One thing you never run out of here is places to eat. There's so many places to eat here. Clothesline bacon. Sweet. And look at this.
Place butts here.
The smoker's pot. Place your butts here. We're going across one of those cool bridges. One thing Savannah has no shortage of is open parks. So you can sit down in the grass or walk through and enjoy nature. These cannons were a gift from George Washington to the city of Savannah. We decide to get back on the trolley, so we walk through the newer modern Savannah to get to the next bus stop. As we're walking through modern Savannah, we come across what looks like a bar or a restaurant on top of the buildings. Pretty cool. As we get back on the tour trolley, we come across what looks like a wedding.
Well, he did sleep there, but not in the bank. He slept
In the central part of the city, it's a place where they usually have live music and entertainment. We really enjoyed the trolley tour. It's so relaxing to sit back and just look at the scenery with the narration that's got great information about the historic city. We highly recommend taking the trolley tour in Savannah, with several different packages and price points, and some including museum tours. And one thing that's numerous in the city of Savannah are the squares, located throughout the main historic district. Some are small, but there's others like Forsyth Park, where there's a big fountain, amphitheater, and monuments to enjoy, as well as the great open grassy fields to play frisbee, football, or take your dog for a walk. As the shadows start to get long, it's time for us to head back to the RV. Well, good morning. We're here on our fourth day here in Savannah, and we're getting ready to go on our little trolley tour.
Get my sticker.
For our second day in a row doing the trolley tour, and it was great. It was really a lot of fun and informative, and the weather was beautiful, and it wasn't too crowded.
Nope.
And we visited the Prohibition Museum, and today we're going to visit two.
Davenport House and Massey Heritage Center.
So we're looking forward to that. So we probably won't stay all day. Not sure, but
No, probably not.
we got to get ready to leave in the morning to go back home. And it took us 6 hours to get here. So we want to leave enough time to have daylight to park the RV and take out the cold refrigerator stuff.
Yeah, get all unpacked, all that fun stuff. So some things noticed yesterday in Savannah. Not a lack of places to go.
Yeah.
Every time we walked around the corner, we're like, oh, that looks cool. Let's take a picture of that. So the whole city is just is picture worthy. It was a holiday, so everything city-wise was closed. So that meant the public bathrooms were closed. So that caused a little bit of a dilemma. We were able to navigate around that, but that's just something to keep in mind. We bought the pass for 2 days, and we were hoping to do more of the museums yesterday, but because it was the holiday, that's why we're doing 2 today. But
Yeah,
other than that,
only one was open.
only one was open. So out of the entire city and all of their museums and houses that you could tour, there was only one open, and that was really cool. That was a really cool one. But I think it was more crowded because it was the only one open.
Exactly. It was a crowd in the museum for the Prohibition. But definitely looking forward to trying to get to more, but we will run out of time. It's such a huge city. There were so many different little sites.
Nooks and crannies.
Yeah, it was amazing. You definitely could spend a couple of weeks here and not see it all. But it was beautiful. We loved the tour bus, and then the fact that you can run on the tour bus all the way through and then start it again and
Cool.
jump off and jump back on however you need. And the bus stops aren't very far away from each other. Some of them are really close to each other, so you don't have to walk very far if that's a concern.
It was neat too because we were on and off the tour bus a few times, so we got to hear different people's version of the history. And so we picked up little bits and pieces from each of the tour guides, and they were all fabulous. I don't think we had one that was boring, but it was neat to be able to just see the different, everybody comes with it with a little bit different twist on history. And one guy even said, talking about how myths turn into facts. And it's not necessarily so, but because those stories and the folklore has been like passed on and passed on and passed on, how soon people think that they're factual. And so there was a couple examples of that. So it was really neat. Definitely on our list to come back and spend more time.
So we're going to take off and head out and jump back onto the tour bus and see a couple of more museums.
We're not sure how we're going to divide this up. This may end up getting divided into 2 or 3 videos.
Definitely, yeah.
Because there was just so much. We've got so much footage and so much. I'd like to do a little bit more of the camping too. So I don't know. We'll figure that out. So you might get a couple videos out of this one.
For sure. All right. See you.
All right, we made it to the visitor center to load up for our next tour to the museum. Manny, what is it called?
Massey.
Massey something.
Yep, and then Davenport House.
Right.
As we take the trolley around town to the Massey Schoolhouse, we find out that the schoolhouse is closed for the day. Wah, wah, wah. So we get back onto the tour bus and head for our second museum, the Davenport House.
We're at the Davenport House Museum, and one really cool feature is the door size. It's really small. It's so small, I can touch the top of the door frame. So let's look inside.
The Davenport Museum offers a gift shop, a video presentation, and a guided tour. After watching the video presentation, we start our guided tour.
All the crown molding, window trim, and baseboards are original. The furniture in the room are not original, but they are time dated and based upon the log of the furniture that was removed, they replaced it with like furniture.
Beautiful room, but where is the spa bathroom? Well, here it is. It's up to our standards.
After finishing the guided tour, we are encouraged to enjoy the backyard. She said that they have weddings here. This is a public courtyard that is not affiliated with the Davenport house.
Yeah, what a great place for weddings.
So she said on Valentine's Day, every half hour they have a wedding. Yeah. All right, here's the outside front of the Davenport house. One of the cool things about this iron is it's got a shoe cleaner, boot cleaner. When you're gonna go in the house, scrape the mud off your. Pretty cool. And you got this view right outside your house. After we're done touring the Davenport Museum, we're hungry. So we get back on the tour bus and head for one of the restaurants downtown. After exiting the tour bus, we see what looks like another restaurant on top of some buildings. All right, we're going to the Pirate House to have lunch.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
The Pirate House had a wonderful menu of comfort food, and they even had a buffet so you could pick out the food that you wanted. The prices were reasonable and the portions were big. The restrooms were especially nice, modern, clean, and attractive. The Pirate House is one of the oldest structures in Savannah. It used to be a tavern, and when patrons got too drunk, they were kidnapped and taken out to sea and forced labor. They were taken through underground tunnels that ran under the tavern straight out to the river and put on ships and taken out to sea. We even met some people waiting for the bus from Melbourne, Florida, the next town over from where we live. We get back on the tour bus and head back to Forsyth Park. It's a park we showed previously in the video, but we wanted to go back and get some better video. And here's the amphitheater. And what would a park be without a playground? And a monument. As we walk down the center walkway, we come up on the beautiful European water fountain. As we were told by the tour guide, this water fountain was purchased from a catalog for $2,500, one of only 3 other fountains like it, shipped here and assembled on location. As we head toward our last stop, we walk by the voted one of the most beautiful streets in the world, Jones Street. All right, on the famous Jones Street, that's supposed to be one of the most beautiful streets in America or the world, I forget.
Voted number 1 for I think, Travel and Leisure magazine. It's very pretty. Again, like everything here is very pretty. Look at this address. 118 and a half
Oh, 118 and a half.
East Jones Street. Pretty cool.
I live at 118 and a half East Jones.
Pretty fountain.
As pretty as that Spanish moss is, it kills the oak trees. And we found out that the Spanish moss is not Spanish and it's not moss. It's actually some kind of thing relative to a grapefruit. That's what they said. As we start to exit Lafayette Square, we come to our final stop, the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Since it's Christmas time, they set up the nativity scene, and it looks amazing. Well, it's time for us to get back, so we head for the last bus stop and ride back to the visitor center. We're here at the visitor center in the afternoon now. About to explore the visitor center. As we head back to the camper, our time in Savannah has come to an end. We go back, hit the sack, and in the morning, we hook up and head for home. As we cross the Florida border, we stop into the Florida Visitor Center.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload our next video. Next time, we'll be heading to Disney's Hollywood Studios. So stay tuned and watch for that video coming up soon.